Uh, Frustrating performance on Saturday. Did not play our brand of football. There's a lot to work on, and at the end of the day, Sunday provided an opportunity for us to identify the areas that we need to get fixed. Did not play well on special teams. Anytime you're giving up a blocked punt, that is not a recipe for success. Did not find ways to flip the field. Thought we did some good things on punt return, but in the other phases had areas of things that had not shown up to this point. We got to rebound in that area of all three phases. Found some ways to create takeaways. We're not able to convert those into points. Won the turnover battle, but did not win the points off of turnovers battle. That is a critical recipe to our success as a football team. And at the end of the day, it's an opportunity for us to look at square in the eye and get back to work and know that we need to improve as we approach going into a hostile environment against a very good Iowa team. So had a chance to review the film this morning. Excited to get back this afternoon and dive into Iowa.
First question, Matt.
Coach, can you walk us through the decision in the game at left guard? You ended up subbing a true freshman, Zomo Radakai, over Nick Herzog. What was the process there?
Yeah, as we went throughout the week, last week, Nick was able to practice last week, but as the week progressed, some of the issues that he's been dealing with just continued to be nagging and lingering, and just really felt like, between Mo and Cooper there at left guard, that was going to be in the best interest of the group up front and Nick. So we'll see how it plays out here. The remainder of the season with Nick, but first off and foremost, got to look out for his health and his not only short-term health but long-term health, and that's something that we'll be evaluating here in the next couple of days and in coming weeks.
And then the decision to put Mo in the game, was that a depth chart decision, or was there an injury to Cooper?
No injury to Cooper. Just kind of letting those guys compete. Mo's been showing some really good things in practice, especially in run game, and just kind of letting those guys, see how the flow of the game was going, how those guys were playing, and go with the hot hand.
Coach, as you have been studying Iowa, I'm sure you probably have already started that process. We know that Iowa over the years, particularly in the last couple of years, has been a very strong defense. What do you attribute through your analysts what's happening offensively? They seem like they've improved there.
Yeah, a lot of the same things in terms of philosophically establishing the run, play action. Run scheme is very similar to what we've seen in previous years. But I think they're doing a good job. Very talented back. It starts with the O-line. Quarterback play has been impressive. I mean, you look at the Washington game, very good Washington defense, and their ability to put up 40 points. Doing some good things formationally, some good things with motions. You can just tell that the identity and philosophy is still staying consistent with what we've known to be, Iowa football, Iowa offense at its best, but some new wrinkles that I think are paying dividends and have shown the ability to be very explosive and balanced, utilizing the passing game as well.
So, Coach, as a follow-up, has there been any changes in their offensive coaching staff, maybe their philosophy, or are they still Iowa as we know it?
It's still Iowa as we know it, but I think Coach Lester has come in and done a really good job of putting his his fingerprints are certainly on it, and has done a really nice job of integrating into still being true to who they want to be as an offense, but finding ways to be creative and do some new things and utilize their personnel. I don't know Coach Lester, but have known of him for a long time. I think he does an exceptional job and has really done a good job with that offense in his first year.
Henry?
Coach, do you have an update on either AJ or Xander?
Really encouraging news coming out of Saturday, just in terms of long-term health of both. Like I think that was our concern with both those guys. First off and foremost is just, scary situations with both of potential their long-term health. In terms of their return to play, we'll know more as we get into this afternoon and into tomorrow. But both came out in terms of it being situations where there's a pathway for those guys to return, which not only for this season but for both of their futures beyond college football was really good news after a long day.
Coach, you talked about the special teams battle, and typically that's been a battle you guys have been able to win, especially in the return game, and you're going up against an Iowa team that struggled in returns. How important is it for you guys to get that hidden yardage, especially going on the road?
It's always critical, and Iowa will absolutely challenge us in that space. It's been part of their formula for such a long time. They do a tremendous job of developing depth on their entire roster. Their demeanor of play and effort in all three phases, especially on special teams, is exceptional. I challenged our group this morning. These are things that we need to get fixed, and the challenge that we're staring down this week with an Iowa team that plays at extremely high level on special teams, with their effort, technique, and the amount of time that they invest as a program. It will not be an easy task to bounce back, but we're going to have to.
Coach, Damon Walters led the team this weekend with 11 tackles, nearly had his second pick in 2 weeks. How have you seen him really step into what's an unexpected role for himself during his redshirt freshman year?
Yeah, I think anyone that was tracking on Damon throughout spring ball and fall camp would tell you that this is not a surprise, and would also follow that up by saying it's a credit to the young man's preparation, preparing like a starter regardless of the amount of snaps that he's been taking on defense. Was dinged up after the Duke game for a little bit and just continued to stay consistent once he was back and available, was back to form. I think it's a credit to his preparation, his confidence, and the way that he's performed these last 2 weeks is something that reflects what we've seen out of him in practice, which is really exciting.
Coach, Jack with another game under 10 completions. I know progress and success is not always linear, but how you get him to play more consistent football?
Yeah, it's a lot of things. An established run game, always helps. Staying ahead of the chains, not creating 1st and 15 or 2nd and 15 situations with procedural penalties. I thought he did some great things with his feet of creating some first downs. But part of it's trust in the pocket when the pocket's there for him. Part of it there in the second half was, creating more scenarios when we're not operating out of, the shadows of our own goalposts. Jack also knows that, the performance that he put on tape on Saturday wasn't his best. He'll be the first one to tell you that he's hungry to get back to practice and improve. But, it comes down to a lot of things. But to your point, it's not always linear. Have full faith in Jack and everyone around him to bounce back after a tough performance and play winning football against Iowa.
Follow up on that. How much of Jack's development now has to be that internal clocking, understanding that the pocket is clean and I have time to get through my progression, get from read 1, 2 to 3?
Yeah, it's at times it's it's being decisive in his decision making, and when he's been at his best, he's been decisive with getting the ball out on time. I think he has done a good job of being decisive to escape the pocket when he feels that opportunity. But a guy with his athleticism can get into the mode when he feels any form of pressure of just bringing his eyes down and taking off. And it's just taking that next step of being able to maybe feel some pressure but slide in the pocket, keep his eyes downfield, and continue on in his progression.
Charlie?
Coach, your defense allowed an 100-yard rusher for the first time this season last week. Are there any changes you're looking to make with Caleb Johnson?
First off, credit to Wisconsin. They've done a good job running the football the last few weeks. I thought we had a good plan. I thought our guys continued to battle we did not have our best tackling game. I think that will always be a point of emphasis, but this week more than ever, it'll be critical that we play with good leverage, that we tackle well, that we get all 11 hats to the football. It's going to take more than one to bring Caleb down. And it'll also be critical that we find ways to get out to a lead and play with a lead. There's no better friend to a rushing defense than having an opponent that feels like maybe they're playing one-handed a little bit and need to become more one-dimensional and throw the ball a little bit more. When you get a team like Wisconsin or Iowa in a situation where they're up 2 scores or more, you're playing right into their strength and right into their hand.
Matt.
Coach, your team's really struggled on third down this season. In the last 2 games alone, you guys have converted only 19% of the time. So from a coaching standpoint, what are you trying to do to flip that narrative?
I think it really comes down to first down efficiency. If you study our first down efficiency right now, it correlates almost identically to the efficiency we're experiencing on third down. We need to create the amount of 3rd and 7 pluses that we've experienced this year is, not a recipe for success on third down. Some of those are things that can be more consistent in our quick game, our RPO, and our run game. And way too many of those issues are penalty related and going into a hostile environment. It's the same conversation I had on special teams that I had with our group this morning about, man, we're challenging you to fix this. We need to fix this coaching staff wise. We need to be solutions based and figure this out as well, putting our guys in advantageous situations. But the things that Iowa does with some of their stemming and moving up front, to induce some false starts out of the offense and being in a hostile environment, one of the loudest environments in all of Big Ten, all of college football. I mean, we're going to be challenged this week, and no better week to get it fixed than this one.
Offensive scoring under 20 points per game after Wisconsin. What was your dialogue with Zach Lucan like over the past couple days?
Just being solutions-based and continuing to trust himself. You can't play in a state of, living in the past, frustration from the past. I think we've put some really good plans together offensively. The O-line situation this year with the amount of guys that we've played up front is not always conducive to a consistent level of play on the offense side of the ball. But the thing that I'll say very boldly, there will be no excuses here. There will be no explanations. We just got to find a way to get it done, and fully trust that we're gonna do that. This team has proven the ability to bounce back after some tough performances, and we're gonna have to do that this week against traditionally one of the best defenses in the country for a long time, with one of the best defensive fronts in the country. What a great opportunity to stare that challenge down and find a way to play winning football.
Probably not the offensive production you envisioned when you made the change at offensive coordinator. Do you see, the right system in place? Do you think the offense is on the right trajectory where it is right now, or do you think this is going to be a multi-year project?
We absolutely have the right people in the room. Are we seeing the production consistently out of that group that we'd like to see? No, everyone knows that. But no, I am absolutely confident that we got the right people in the room, a group of people that are, going to be solutions-based. I've been on a lot of staffs that will sit in a post-game meeting and all they'll talk about is, well, this guy didn't do this or this guy didn't do that or we need better this. And all that is just a bunch of finger-pointing. Our group comes back to work and says, okay, what do we need to do to put these guys in better situations? And when you got a group of people like that, to me, that's a recipe for sustained success and a lot to look forward to.
Lauren.
Coach, all of our road games coming up, we haven't visited those stadiums since before you got here in a majority of our coaching staff. How have people like Coach Barnett, T-Mac supported you and getting you prepared for entering new environments in the Big Ten?
They've been a huge support. Obviously Tim's experience not only as a player but as a coach in this league for such a long time is a wealth of knowledge. Coach Barnett, having done it at Michigan State for such a long time, are just two individuals that have been great to lean on just in terms of what we can expect. I had a chance to coach at Iowa in my time at University of Northern Iowa and experience that atmosphere firsthand. It's going to be it's going to be a challenge. It certainly creates a great home field advantage for Iowa, but a challenge that we're looking forward to. And that's Big Ten football. That's what you want. You want to go into a hostile environment and put together a plan where you guys can execute and find a way to play winning football.
And Coach, you talked about Big Ten football. Obviously, a big part of that is the ground game. Iowa's got a top 30 rush defense in the country. What are you and Coach Lujan looking at to get Cam Porter and Joe Hyman going early?
Yeah, looking back at the rushing attack against Wisconsin, and even going back to Maryland, there's positive things showing up. There's things that can certainly be built upon in terms of positive momentum. At the end of the day, a critical piece in all of it is finding ways to start fast. To create leads in a game where you feel like it's hard to stay true to a running attack when all of a sudden you're down 21-3 in the third quarter. So all of it factors in, but just continuing to evaluate schemes that are putting our O-line in a position to create extra room for guys like Cam and Joe and Caleb to succeed. But excited about the challenge that's ahead. Hopeful to see a return out of Josh Thompson this week, which will be big. Excited about the way that Anthony Biersa competed his butt off last week. There's silver linings in all this, and one of the silver linings is there's been some guys that have been thrown into the fire and thrown into the arena, and haven't backed down. So excited for the challenge that's ahead. But there's no doubt for us to be at our best offensively, we're gonna have to find balance and consistently run the football.
Back here.
Yeah, Luke Akers has obviously been tasked with large responsibility. There's some field goals and punts that didn't go quite how you would want them to in the past game. Will there be any special emphasis in practice to try to maybe make those go better in a game where it seems like special teams could play a huge role?
Yeah, the block punt early, which was certainly not Luke's issue or fault. Certainly didn't set his day up for success moving forward. I think the learning opportunity for Luke is finding a way to flush that. To his credit, after a block punt and two missed field goals, comes in and puts one through the uprights. I told him in front of our entire team, I'm excited for him to get back out there and have opportunities to score points for our team. He's an absolute weapon for this team. We do have to continue to certainly track on our practice habits with Luke as many things as we're putting on his plate. But that's something that young man is embracing wholeheartedly, taking a lot of pride in. He took the loss really hard. I think that's a reflection of his care for this team and how competitive he is. Excited for him to be an absolute weapon for us on Saturday.
Jake.
Coach, with AJ potentially unavailable this week and moving forward, how prepared are guys like CJ Johnson, Frank Covey, or even Hayden Elegon to see elevated snaps at wide receiver?
Yeah, they have no choice but to be ready. But they are. Hayden's continued to progress. Frank Covey's a guy since the day I stepped on campus. We kind of came in at the same time. Has impressed me from day one. Excited for him to really have some more opportunities here moving forward. CJ Johnson, anyone that was around spring ball in fall camp, was one of our most consistent dynamic performers. Excited for CJ. Done some good things for us, in games this year, but excited if that role increases, if AJ's not able to go, gonna need a guy like CJ to step up, and Frank and Hayden and Bryce Kurtz, gonna have to continue to spread the ball around, but those guys are up for the challenge.
Coach, we've talked a lot about protecting the football, and Jack has done that, hasn't thrown an interception since the Washington game, but going up against a pretty turnover-hungry Iowa secondary. What are your talks with him been like in terms of both protecting the football but also still being able to step up in the pocket and deliver throws when need to?
Yeah, just continuing to trust himself. I mean, it's evaluating the process, right? Like if he's stepping up in the pocket and he's not doing a good job of having two hands on the ball when he does, those are things that we need to correct and get fixed. You go back and look at the sack fumble that they were able to create. Number one, we never should have put Jack in that situation. That 100% comes back on me. But when you evaluate the process, he had two hands on the ball. At the end of the day, defensive end, clean rush, gets a good hit on him, is able to force the ball out. It's continuing to evaluate his eyes, his progression, the process that he's going through. He's done a great job of that, but just needs to continue to trust himself. When he's at his best, he's getting the ball out on time. On deep throws, he's getting the ball up early and trusting his wide receivers to hit a spot. And the encouraging thing is we've seen those things out of Jack. And the one thing I know about that guy is he's always going to continue to improve. And when he doesn't have his best performance, he's gonna be better because of it.
Coach, with the way Iowa uses Luke as their main pass catcher, how do you look at how Grayson, Xander, if he can go, Mac, how do you look at how they have to play in coverage versus maybe bringing a safety and playing more of a nickel look to make sure that he doesn't get free releases off the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, you need to evaluate all of that. I don't want to discredit their passing attack. I alluded to earlier. I think it's something that they've taken some huge strides and have the ability to be explosive, but don't let that twist my words. The defensive structure on first and second down, the top priority will be making sure that we have good angles and run fits and are able to slow this run game down. And, to that point, we're going to have to make sure that we're very aware of where he's at in the passing attack and make sure that the matchups are advantageous for the Cats.
Last one, Matt.
Do you have an expected return for Devin Turner, and would you think that Damon Walters would start his place against Iowa?
What I will tell you is very optimistic about Devin's return. We'll know more, after Tuesday's practice on what that looks like for Saturday. But optimistic about his return. At the end of the day, we're gonna have to find a way to put our best 11 on the field, and we're not sure exactly what that looks like yet. What I do know is Damon and Devin will both be, play a huge role in trying to get our best on the field. All right. Thanks, everyone.